More fabulous man is my Willie husband, Mr. Kennedy. How are you today, baby?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I've been awfully busy. I hadn't had a chance to groom myself.
It's a good thing you got good hygiene habits.
Well,
it's
nice to know.
Yeah, nice to know. It's been some crazy things going on, in the world. Okay, first thing, but let's talk about that bridge collapsing in Maryland across the bay to
Chesapeake.
Yeah, no, not the Chesapeake. It was another one.
Oh.
But anyway, the whole bridge collapsed. It was built in 1970, and they said that presumably 6 of the workers that were on the bridge, you could see their cars flying down. It just felt like one of those, you know how you get that ruler and you could swing it out like this, and it comes along, and then it just went down like a house of cards. If this is not it's a horrible, terrible thing that happened, it's a wake up call for the civil engineers to understand that our bridges need to be rebuilt. Our infrastructure is like hanging on by a thread, and this isn't the first bridge that went down.
Okay, but it has. I don't know if it has anything to do with the infrastructure at all. I mean, a barge running
into it
had nothing to do with how long it had been up, because it could have been just up. The barge running into this reason, which caused the collapse.
I understand that.
So it wasn't about.
And then they said the bridge wasn't built to be able to withstand that kind of trauma.
Well, I mean, they don't plan stuff like that. You don't when you're building the bridge. I mean, maybe you can say they should have took in consideration if something that would actually ran into that column, because it is a support column.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they should have anticipated that or thought about that. I'm not so worried or upset that, why didn't they think of that, or why didn't they do that in advance?
This was like 400 years ago, right?
Well, I mean, the bridge is 70 years old, either 71 years old. It's not an old
1970.
It's 70 years old. The bridge was built 70 years ago. And maybe 70 years ago, they were not thinking about if a barge would actually run into that support column, what damage it would have caused, or they would have built other barriers maybe around this column. So even if a ship or something did happen to come to it, it would have the barrier to help prevent the accident that did happen.
And they said that the cargo and everything and the ship itself, they said it was like something like 200 tons of goods and services that are on there, and they would have to get the stuff off of the bridge, off of the boat first, off of the barge first, just to even start.
Well, when you have to stop and think. I mean, it was a true accident, because the ship lost complete power. Mm. They radioed ahead and told them to stop blocking the people coming onto the bridge, because they had no control of the vessel anymore.
Right.
There was at a float in the water. So in that sense, yes, they minimized the amount of casualties that could have happened, because they did call ahead and start warning them, stop people from crossing the bridge, in case, because it looked like their ship was going to drift into the column. So they did start warning people in advance, which was a very good thing that they were able to do that.
And we send out our prayers and our sympathies to the families who lost their loved ones on that bridge, who were willing to do that on a regular basis. I liken them to the people that go up on the scaffoldings to the 42nd floor, when they're doing the windows, and the people that like the people that work on this barge and everything. I mean, you putting your life on the line every day. Well, we put our life on the line every day when you get into a car.
When you open your eyes, I guess, in a sense, something bad could happen. But you hope that nothing bad happens.
Right.
I mean, because in any given day, I mean, just like this was an unfortunate accident that occurred yesterday. It wasn't planned. It was something that just simply happened. So to say every single time you can know what's about to happen, you know what will happen.
Nobody said that you can't know.
That's all I was saying, is that this is things that you can't know ahead of time, because you're not aware of that. It happened. Unfortunately, it was an unfortunate incident that caused a loss of only a few lives, which was really a good thing.
God rest their souls.
That it was.
And I didn't know this, because I always thought we made our own sugar here. And they said that one of the things that they couldn't get access to was the sugar shipment, because they said they can divert other ships. Because when you look in the background, you can see the ship sitting out there in the bay. And the fact, thank God, they weren't so close together, like in a car accident. You see one car and it look, you go, bam. That doesn't happen on the water. And the fact that, like you said, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot, and they were saying that Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg said that they could divert some of the ships, to go into other ports, but that it was going to be really difficult for the sugar supply to come in. And so I'm wondering how spastic are people going to get when they don't get the sugar, and how high will the price go? Because I can see the merchants not saying, oh, they can't get the sugar in. Oh, it's going to cost them extra if they want sugar. Because remember what happened when we were going through the pandemic and they had eggs at $12.99 for a dozen? Who's to say that won't happen? Because it's all kind of cargo on there, and they are shipping autos and light trucks over
as well. I mean, goods and merchandise is going to be shipped no matter what. I mean, hopefully they will be able to divert the sugar shipments to another port somewhere so it can be downloaded. Maybe just have to travel further to get it to the distribution center that it would normally go to. But you can have it like how they sending ships now to an alternate port for docking. Right. Send the sugar ships as well to that alternate point, and then just have trucks to take the sugar and deliver it to where it needs to go.
Oh, Mr. Civil Engineer, that's what you. That's not a bad idea, though.
To me, that's logically what you want to do. I mean, in that case, because right now, until they rebuild the bridge, you think about it. They know how to rebuild bridges a lot quicker now than they ever did before. With the collapse out here of the freeway, twice they rebuilt it in record time. They were able to rebuild it, both of them. So they kind of know more about how to fix stuff a lot quicker now than they did in the past. Technology has come a long way on how you can go in and fix stuff, how you can cure the cement and stuff a lot quicker than even before. So it doesn't take these months and months that normally would take a project. And most people don't understand the real reason why it takes so long when they're doing a project, like when they're working on a road. And you say, well, it seems like they start working on it, then they just stopped and left. Well, part of that is to allow the cement to cure, to become hardened. So you can't just constantly keep working. You have to give the cement a chance to completely dry out and harden.
Oh, we know about that concrete driving when our house flooded. We had to have all the floors replaced.
So these are things that people have to think about that they normally do not think about, but it comes a reason that you have to, because it just makes sense.
Well, sometimes a lot of people don't. I know what you're saying.
It makes sense because you have to do what you need to do to be okay.
Right.
And all the time it's not as simple as most people want to think or say that it is.
Or they think that it should be repaired all of a sudden,
overnight.
And they want to blame whoever's in charge. So people are wanting to blame Pete Buttigieg like he was sitting up at home. Know what?
Ship run into this pillar.
Yeah. And what?
I mean, you're quick to say, okay, whoever's in charge,
it's your fault.
It's your fault, period. That is nobody else's fault. It's your fault. Okay, you was not the captain of that vessel that lost power.
Right.
Okay, when they lost power, how much control did they have when they lost power?
Obviously, not what they wanted to have, because they said that the all power went out on the whole ship.
Okay, without power, you can't control a rudder. You can't guide the ship in any direction. That's why they start letting people know ahead. Okay, we're coming into this channel. Okay, we could float into the pillar because we don't have any control of our vessel at the moment because we lost electrical power. I mean, it lets you know how critical electric power is to operations of anything.
Yeah, you got to be able to plug it in, and the light comes on or the light goes off, and the light went off.
Okay, like I guess in a sense, how come they didn't have an emergency backup generator that could have kicked in to restore power to the ship?
See, now that's afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's after, but it's something that you think about a ship that big. You with that much cargo.
It's actually not a ship. I found that there's a difference.
It is, okay.
A barge is a carrier.
But the fact that it has no backup generator. I mean, if the power goes out, just like
we don't know if it had a backup generator.
Well, we know that it didn't, in a sense, it didn't kick in and restore the power so they could control the vessel. So therefore, now this is like it's hindsight, but this is something that they will do for the for the future. Maybe they'll make all ships that barges have to have a backup generator in case the main generator fails for whatever reason, because you don't always anticipate every single accident or why it happened, but it makes you smarter to avoid the next one.
I was just going to ask, how do they? Oh, it went out my head. It was gone. It was one of those moments. I was gonna. It'll come back to me, but it has been a tragic day. And like he was saying, Secretary of Transportation said, "Look, and they're asking, well, when do you think it'll be back up?" I see, and I'm talking to the TV, and I'm going, "How? What? Oh, he just the magic guy, magic, and he's gonna get it fixed, and he can tell you what day it's gonna be on, what hour it's gonna be fixed." That's crazy.
Well, that would indicate that you're saying he went and had meetings with people already about. Okay, how long do you think it's going to? They even had a chance to do the investigation. Finish the investigation. They got to check the structural readiness of the rest of the bridge as well before they even replace the section that failed. Because the whole bridge did not fall.
No, it was just like in the middle where the barge hit it, And I was listening to the guy who's a civil engineer in charge of civil engineering, and this was if it were 24 hours ago. He said they've had to bring in 1,000 people who knew about this because this is going to be a big deal.
Yes.
And I think America, you need to calm down, sit yourself down. Thank God that there was nobody else hurt. Pray for the families that were hurt and lost, because they said this could affect 850,000 jobs because there's so many jobs immediately. 15,000 just to get the material, get the merchandise off the ship.
Well, I mean, it creates work
off the barge.
It creates work, and it also puts people out of work.
Right.
Because now, because over 100,000 people a day travel across that bridge. It's hard to imagine that many cars in one day would travel across that bridge at any given time during the day.
I didn't know it was 100,000 people in the area that would go over the bridge.
Far more than that. But now that you have to reroute. This bridge is down. Now there is another bridge. So now all the traffic will be going to that bridge. Now, they got to have people who's directing traffic and stuff because you got this extra traffic that would not have been coming on this.
And I think they're gonna need 24-hour, a 24-hour clock. So they're gonna have to have shifts.
Of course.
Because
when it comes down to rebuilding,
right?
When it comes to rebuilding, yes, they do, because you have to have that time.
And this need to be a wake-up call for all the people who work on bridges, who have built bridges, to understand our infrastructure. Sans the accident with the barge running into the bridge, because that was truly an accident. But let's not have any more accidents. Let's talk about the people in your community where you need.
How could you not have accidents?
What?
I mean, the very
I said it was an accident.
Right. Okay. The very nature of what you're saying, accident, means it was not planned.
It was, exactly.
Okay. So
I'm saying,
there's no such thing as not planned. Not
prepare for something like this to happen on an older bridge. Okay, the older bridge, we got some bridges that are 100 years old, and they weren't built for cars that weigh as much as they've done over the years. I mean, remember back in the day, a Chevy, you could take a Chevy or a Ford truck, hit a tree, and have more damage to the tree than a car.
Well, you have to also think now a bit of reality of the fact that everything can't be done instantly.
No.
I mean, and the fact that we know more now, we can rebuild things a lot quicker because they've shown you they've been able to rebuild bridges, that have been damaged in the past. They can rebuild them a lot quicker. I mean, if they use the engineers out here that they use when the 10 freeway, when the platforms caught on fire and messed apart the 10 freeway.
Right.
Okay, they thought first they was estimated that it was maybe 6 months that the bridge might be down, and then they finally did all the assessments and examined the structure. It only ended up being down for like 3 weeks.
Right.
I mean,
and it wasn't
going from months down to just 3 weeks
of
the bridge being down.
Let's forget about the part that the people that were going for the contracts, because it was more than one company. And so they said, whoever could do this the fastest, you get a $10 million bonus. They were out there busy than the one-arm paper hanger.
But you also wanted to be the right person to do the repair.
That's what I was impressed with.
If you do it quickly, and then a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, it collapsed because it was done in a rush job, then you're going to have even more lawsuits
more people
injured and hurt because they thought that it was okay.
So far, I left my other earring on.
You lost
I'm
it.
going to be.
You-
This is my attitude today. One earring, just one earring. I just want to
Okay.
flip my earring. So, like I said, this ought to be a wake up call for other municipalities and other cities and states to reassess your bridge work and how old it is and get it, because that would create jobs, a lot of jobs, to rebuild the infrastructure. And they said we're gonna need a new electrical grid pretty soon.
Well, not need. We do. We've already needed, because with all you have to
All
think
these
about
phone
with
numbers
all
and all
the
these gadgets.
with all the gadgets, we have far more electronic gadgets now than ever before. And the fact that you have so many more, that's far more capacity being used on the electrical grid. So you do have to update the grid, because
Right.
you're using more things that are using power from the grid.
And everybody has a cell phone. Everybody, for the most
Yeah.
part, has a computer. I mean, I'm sitting in our office. We got one, two, we got three. We have 5 televisions in our house. It's only 2 of us. Only 2. So I go through the room and I change the channel on all of them. Sometimes I don't know how to. Still don't know how to. I'm gonna master it though. I am. I'm gonna master all of this stuff. And I know that I have I'm at a disadvantage with the electronics, So I just have to go a little slower. I'm a late bloomer. I'm gonna get it. And everybody, like I said, everybody's got a cell phone. So that's why do you know they got over 2,000 satellites up in the sky?
They got
Maybe
far
more.
Oh, not maybe more. They have far more. I mean, the fact that you have junk in space, because you have satellites, and then eventually some of them have already used out their usefulness, and so they got to come out. So
do they just blow them out into the atmosphere when they've outused their usefulness and been up there so long?
I don't know the exact answer to that question, but
Well,
I mean, a lot of them probably just come back into the Earth atmosphere and burn up upon re-entry before they hit the ground, so they don't damage anything. But parts wear out anywhere, whether it's on the planet or in the
your satellite needs parts. And I bet
parts, and these repair work done on some of them. Some of them are just outlived their usefulness. Maybe they had a 20 or 30 year lifespan. Well, there are some satellites that have been up there 30 years already.
So they're definitely outdated.
And then not just here in the United States, but
everybody got right.
Everybody else have satellites up in space as well. So there's a lot of junk in space, I guess, in a sense. I guess, do they have highway lanes? Does everybody's satellite know how to stay distant from another satellite? Well, I mean, but that's something to be considered. I mean, we have probably 10,000 satellites ourselves.
I'm gonna have to Google.
I mean, because Elon Musk was putting satellites.
Yeah, but he's not so good at that.
Wait a minute, but no, that's spaceships. No, I'm talking about satellite. I'm talking about for communication. He's been sending satellites up so they can communicate with people who live in third world countries.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Well, the world gets smaller as we gain more knowledge. The world becomes smaller. Well, because you more now than you knew before.
And in that vein, we ought to know that people survive on clean water, clean air, and food. And to say that, I was looking at the CNN crawler, they said that there are more than 200 women, I'm gonna get the number right. It's in the millions of food that is wasted in the United States every year. It doesn't make any sense for anybody in this country to be hungry when you wasting that kind of food. And I know it.
Easier said than done.
I know, but wait a minute. The part, I mean, we have food banks. People need to have affordable, decent jobs, affordable housing, and they need to be housed. When you put people out of, the landlords are raising the rent up, and they know good and well that their tenants were struggling to pay. They $2,000 bill. Now jacked it up to $500, so it's $2,500. And you robbing Peter to pay Paul, and that it doesn't make any sense for us to be wasting this much food. And I'm telling y'all straight up, I literally, when I clean my refrigerator or my deep freezer out, it breaks my heart. And you know this, it breaks my heart. The food that gets thrown away I ain't gonna get because you're not getting all the money.
People like, well,
where's all that nurse? She's beating on the furniture again. And it's just a shame. And then when the pandemic hit, because during the holidays, I cooked a lot of food.
I have a question. Is that humanly possible to act as though we would never waste any food at all? I mean, being totally
Oh no,
realistic.
I'm being
Okay.
realistic.
There's
Because sometimes
some food you wait a minute, some food will not be consumed. Every single
some of the food doesn't make it over here because they said they lose a lot of food storage in the transportation of the food. So a lot of it doesn't even make it where it can be, consumed by humans. So they say a third of the food that they ship gets lost.
okay, and you think about that.
It's a
Okay, wait a minute.
shame. It's a
I mean,
shame
the
what
fact
we
that
do.
the fact is, act as though everything will be perfect that they
I,
want.
you
I
know
mean,
what I
remember,
always tell you about the whole perfect
well, I
thing.
mean,
Anybody's
okay,
striving for perfection.
when you keep saying it's a shame that food is lost. I mean, in reality, there will always be some produce that will not make it.
And
I
I
mean,
think,
so that's what I'm saying when I say there's no such thing as saying that all of the produce will none of it ever be wasted, that everything will be used properly.
I get that. I understand that. And I know even when we see the the chicken trucks going down, and these are not consumed horse meat, but you see the all the fruits and vegetables that come from California, and they're moving them all around. Yeah, some of it's gonna get lost in translation, and I've gotten a lot better about going to the grocery store. And you should never, ever, 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 ever go to the grocery store hungry, because then you start pulling all kind of stuff off the rack. You start getting a bunch of junk food. And what has really, really helped me is not going to the grocery store hungry and having a list. Because I used to be at random shopper. What I tell you, what's my line when I want to buy something?
You want to buy something?
When I want something, what I
do it will it fit on the truck? Okay, but the point being,
put it on the truck.
I mean, making a list always is a better thing before you go grocery shopping, before you go shopping, period, in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have a list of specific items that you're looking for, you end up not buying as much random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you follow your list, you buy a lot less random stuff. If you don't follow your own list, you end up buying a lot more random stuff, because once you're in there, your eye can see a lot of things. And what?
Oh, this is a new chip.
Hey,
honey, have you ever seen this cookie?
And you know why though? That's part of the advertisement when you're watching commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
the stuff they put up at the register.
The things not just was put up, not only that, but things that if you see commercials, then it's embedded in your brain, so you can go when you go into the grocery store.
Mind control.
Well, it is. You go into a grocery store and you look and you walking through there. If you don't have a list,
mm-hmm.
you can see something, and your brain says, "I remember hearing that or seeing that." Because the recall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you may go over there and pick it up and purchase it, because if you don't have a list of what you were going to purchase,
that's so important.
Then you can end up picking up random stuff, and then you have more of a chance of having food that will be wasted.
Right, and what I've learned to do is get my staples. The things that go in whatever it is. I get most of the stuff when I have to go to the grocery. When I go to the grocery store, it's replenishing the fruits and the vegetables, the milk and the orange juice, and stuff like that. I make sure that I got plenty of vegetables. One of the things I do too to keep from having so much food spoil is when I bring in my vegetables and my fruits, I first put them in the sink with water just to rinse off the stuff where people might have been touching on. Rinse off your fruits and vegetables.
Well,
rinse them
off.
Let me finish. I rinse them off, and when
sense.
I got cabbage and I got greens and kale and my apples, I make my own applesauce. You gotta tell me, is my applesauce the bomb?
It's the bomb. It should be on the market being sold. One day it probably will be.
It probably will. Mother's apple, but I make my own pickles, my own relish. I'm learning how to make jelly.
Okay.
All
right.
And I think because I don't eat jelly, but I can tolerate jam.
But then also, because if you don't use preservatives, and that's one of the main things when you're talking about not wasting food. Okay, having been able to preserve food but to last longer helps to cut down on the waste of food, because if everything is fresh means it has to be consumed right away. Is every single thing that we're growing can be consumed immediately as soon as you take it off the tree within the next day or two, or because it can't travel far if you expect to still eat it fresh. And see, that's why. I mean, when people say, "Well, why do we have canned goods and other stuff?" You have to have a way
staples
to preserve food so that everything don't have to be consumed immediately.
And whatever I get in the can, besides the salmon and in the can and tuna in the can. That I get what I need, and become an avid label reader. If you can't pronounce it, and we're college educated, when you can't
then you
pronounce
go
it,
hungry. I mean, being
I'm trying to
realistic.
help.
Okay, wait a minute. But you said be an avid label reader.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Even if we just went and got a can right now and held up the can and looked at the ingredients, most of it is about this much. This
Those many ingredients. That's another thing.
And in fact, women, and the fact that you would say know all these ingredients, half of you can't possibly know, because
that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing with the medical profession, where they're advertising every kind of drug, Ozempic, all of these different.
Ozempic is also, it's being touted now with causing other side effects.
Exactly.
More side effects now than they knew even before.
See,
and one hand is good and helping, and wait a minute, on one hand it's helping you, but on the other hand it's hurting people. They say a lot of people who are taking it just to lose weight,
they're gonna mess up their pancreas. They're gonna mess up your liver, your kidneys,
bones,
and you don't know what it's gonna do.
Muscles.
When they first put me on, saying if you could keep going, your eyesight. When I first got on it, whenever they change your medications, when you have a chronic condition, you got to give it some time to, for your body to adjust or readjust.
Yes.
And I've been very proactive about my health. I remember when they first diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. First thing they did was put you on glucophage. And I was never a big junk food eater. When I was having my menses, I did need my chocolate and my dill pickles drilled out with my peanut butter on the inside.
Okay.
And so you have to give your body a chance to adjust to the new medication and how it's gonna work. So I'm gonna say about the third month that I was on Ozempic. And it comes in a pen,
Right.
Okay. About the third month I was on the Ozempic, I noticed that I had started to. Well, you guys noticed, you and
that you were losing a lot of weight.
Yeah, he came out. I came in one day and said, "Mom, why you look like that?" I said, "Why I look like what? Why you look like you starving?" I said, "I don't look like I'm." At least he didn't call me a crackhead this time. And so, yes, I was called that from losing weight. So anyway, you look at yourself in the mirror, okay, that's it, and I want to maintain my, I would go fluctuate from between 5 pounds would be my fluctuation. I'd be 5 pounds up or 5 pounds down.
Okay.
Come to find out, when I went back to my primary care physician to get my, I had my A1C check, and she said, "Oh, I don't know what you're doing. That Ozempic doing something to you because you look scrawny." She'll tell me straight up, "You look scrawny." Put me on the scale. I had dropped in 3 months. 3 months, I had dropped 41 pounds. None of my clothes
see,
fit
once
me.
again, now I've always questioned that. Losing a lot of weight rapidly,
right?
They say is never a good thing.
It wasn't
for the majority of us. I mean, losing weight, yes, but if it comes off gradually, your body be able is readjusting. But if you lose it immediately, that's why you end up having the loose skin and stuff, and that people complain about. First, they say they want to lose weight, but then if you lose it,
forget about the flab
that comes with it. And now
I lost weight gradually before, and and I was thinking about this the other day.
Yes,
should I even be playing with this idea of going to Sonabella or one of them places where they reduce your fat?
They scrape your body,
scrape it off, and I was like. Then it came to me when I had said to you, this was many years ago, and I said to you, especially after I had my major weight loss, and I said, "Oh, I had it penting off with my residuals," and I didn't even tell you. I kind of figured he might have figured it out, but and nonetheless, so I had saved up my money, and I got my consultation because I was going in to get a breast reduction. I was going in to get the Brazilian butt. They're gonna lift it up on my back, and I was going to get my arms and everything done. And you said to me, "Why you want to go through all that?" I'm like, "Oh, what? Why you want to go through, going through all that, having them suck your skin off and carrying on and putting your boobs up someplace?" And when I went to the plastic surgeon for the breast reduction, and I was talking to him, this guy, no, he was just, they just tell me straight up. And I came in, he said, "Oh, mother love, you look good. Look at you, girl. You done lost all that weight. You looking more." I said, "Now, you looking fabulous." I said, "I'm even more fabulous because I was a fabulous fat broad." So anyway, we're sitting down. He said, "I'm glad you came by." And he thinking we just gonna have, like a casual, "How you doing?" And I told him what I wanted. He said,
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna be straight up with you. A breast reduction for most women
Mhm.
only lasts 10 or 15 years. And then you have to come in for maintenance or adjustments. So I guess like when you go get measured for a bra, I was getting measured for my
Okay.
chi-chis. And so I said, 15 years. I said, okay, because he says eventually they'll sag. And I said, okay, so this is what I want you to do. I said, okay, since they only last 15 years, this is what I want you to do. I want you to just put them, take them up, and flip them on my back right here. And so then by the time I get to my age, they'll just slide down. They'll be like this, and I'll be the 80-year-old with the perky chi-chis. He about fell off his chair. And he said, "Good, if you don't get out of my office right now." And I was like, "Why are you kicking me out? You're not going to do it?" He said, "I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tell all my friends to watch out for you because they're not going to do it either."
Well, I mean, you think about
Spanx is
people,
my friend.
then people would be saying, "Well, why in the world is a breast way up here?"
I had two back titties.
For 20 years, and then they'll fall back into place.
Well, she said, and I wear custom made braziers, so he was like, "Okay, just get out of my office with your crazy self." And so then when I told you, it was gonna be a big surprise, I was gonna, and I said, "Oh," and I was kind of down, but I laughed all the way back from Beverly Hills, and so it was so funny. So I came in, and you must have knew something because you said, "Well, what's wrong?" I said, "Oh, nothing. I'm not gonna call his name." I said, my friend Dr. So-and-so, who's the plastic surgeon, which I don't know why they call them plastic surgeons. But nonetheless, I told him I was going
Does
to
your
get
face be like plastic when they finish?
but and it don't move.
But that's a whole nother thing.
And it don't move. So you said to me this one of the sweetest things. He say sweet things to me all the time. Then he get on my nerve. That's what marriage is about. And I was telling you that this is gonna be a surprise. And you said, "Well, why would you do that?" I said, "So I look good naked." And you went, Who else wanna see you naked?" And I was like, "I wanna look good naked." And you go, "Well, who else gonna be looking at you naked?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't think that part." I see that was the look you gave me. That was the same look you gave me. And I said, okay. I guess I didn't think that through,
Okay.
And you said, "Well, I see you naked and I'm good with it." So we went to Hawaii.
Okay.
We went to Hawaii.
All right.
Well, on several occasions, but that was the first time we went.
Right. But we
trust your mate.
Yeah, we started out talking about the tragic boat incident. I don't know how we got all
because that's what we do. You got to keep up with Mother Love and Mr. Kennedy. Speaking of keeping up, here we go. It's always some crazy going on in the entertainment and in the sports world. So let's start with Ohtani is his name, the newest Dodger that they got. He got a $1 billion contract with. His translator has been fired because he allegedly stole $4.5 million from this young guy and has a gambling habit. And so, and we got friends, who come from China, who come from Vietnam, the Philippines, and just like we have our habits in our culture. I know, and you got to let me know. Remember this, that people that come over here from Asia, they love their chocolates, they love their sweets, and they love to gamble. They will come in and gamble away. And they said he had a severe gambling. I guess it would be severe.
Okay.
$4.5 million is out the till. And you said, and I'm saying, well, why wouldn't he know that he was the interpreter? Maybe he was interpreting something different to him that he would understand and not telling us. Oh, so
no.
Okay, let's get Mr. Kennedy's cheese on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things, not just my cheese, but several other people have brought this up when you mentioned the fact that, and it's a stereotype that they're using when they say that Asians like to gamble. That that's one of the national pastime for Asians to like to gamble, and that's just something you decide what you want to do with your money, and if that's
they love to gamble in America
and bet on stuff.
Right,
not just American. We're talking about
the Asian
community, and the fact that when they said that it was for gambling, my thought was,
now, the light went off and you're going,
wait a minute. I've heard that mentioned before about Asians liking to gamble, and I'm saying, well, he's wealthy. It's not like he's really worried about money. I mean, I'm quite sure. No.
Take me where you're going with this logic, because he's wealthy. He should be stolen from.
Okay, wait a minute. what I'm saying, in my opinion,
Mhm.
maybe he was not stolen from at all. The fact that he was already making $40 million a year before he even signed this $700 million contract deal with the Dodgers. He was making $40 million in endorsements and other things.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
he already had a nice income already that he had for himself. So the money, that's why he deferred his contract with the Dodgers, where he doesn't get paid till the end of his contract, the $700 million. Right now, he, in a sense, he's working for free, even though he's not actually working for free.
Right.
Because
But he opted to do that to get it after, because what does he have, like a
after
5-year deal?
he has a 10-year deal.
10-year deal.
Okay.
How old is he? 30, 20 something?
And
Oh,
he would easily go to 10 years.
Okay.
But the difference is this, is that because he was already making has other endorsements and other things where he's making other money,
Mhm.
he struck the deal with the Dodgers to say, instead of you paying me $700 million over 10 years,
Mhm.
and so whatever that would come to per year,
Mhm.
no, defer all of it until my 10th year, and then you would give me the lump sum. That way it allows you to hire other players to get, during this time, because
build the team better.
help to build the team, make
Mhm.
the team better, because so much money is not being allocated to you per year.
So, do you think he'll get the interest too after the 10 years if he's deferred that kind of big, giant, enormous payment?
He is, but then again, what is bad about that is that, what if he gets traded? I mean, because
Or what if he gets injured?
Or injured? Well, I'm thinking more of a trade than injury. That if he got traded, now who would be stuck with the $700 million contract? Say if the Dodgers, say in year 8 of his contract,
Mhm.
his skills had declined to the point where they said, okay, we're no longer making money off of him, because as long as you're making money off a person,
They're like, what?
It's great. The fact that it's interpreter, okay, if I'm the interpreter, so I'm speaking English, you're only speaking Japanese. So when you speak, then after you talk, then I tell people what you were saying in English, because you're in an English, you're in English, you're in English.
But it would seem to me he would have got 2 translators, so they would know what the other one was saying. Because if you don't understand the English and you've got an interpreter, and the reporters ask you, so what's been your biggest challenge in coming to America? Dude could have said, I just want to have you get as many women as I can get my hands on.
Okay,
and so there needs to be somebody there troubleshooting back and forth.
Wait a minute.
Or just 2 translators.
Remember this stuff. If your interpreter would have said that, then the reporters would have reported that.
They don't speak Japanese.
Well, maybe some of them do. They do not have to speak Japanese.
They got translate on the on computer in the app.
Using your scenario, if you said he needed 2 interpreters, one to interpret, just pay attention to what the other interpreter. No, you're speaking, and everybody around you speaking English. You're speaking Japanese, so you have an interpreter knows Japanese and English. And once you say it, he says it in English. Okay.
No, says it in Japanese too.
No, he says it in English to the reporters.
Oh yeah, right. To the reporter. Right. Well, I got that.
Okay, but okay, they speak English, so that's why you had an interpreter. He listened to Otani. He listened to Otani speak it in Japanese. Then he tells you in English what he just said.
Right.
Okay, so there's no reason for him to have a second person, because if he was saying something that if the interpreter was telling people something different, it's still reported in the papers. Okay, it's still reported in the Japanese newspapers, on Japanese newscast, so he can see the newscast. It's not like he's oblivious to the world. No. So if his interpreter was saying something different than what he was saying, he would hear said in Japanese on the news, in the newspaper. So he would know.
So somebody would know.
He would know, not somebody. He would know himself. But the fact that they do like to gamble, it's not inconceivable that if they really investigated this, that they will find out maybe the man never stole the $4 million. That was just money that was given to him, or he was given access to this money so that he could gamble. Okay, if you come from a culture that likes to gamble,
and you're in a position, your translator, your interpreter is in a position to have access to your bank accounts. So wait, see, Because that's his interpreter. He keeping
Okay.
the bridge between him and the
interpreter has
American.
nothing to do with your money.
Well, you got to pay the interpreter too.
No, wait a minute.
So wait a minute. Are you insinuating? Are
you
insinuating that? And with the investigation, are you insinuating that maybe because he's of Japanese descent and stereotypically people from a lot of Filipinos?
I mean,
let me ask you. Let me ask you. So, are you saying that he might have told the interpreter to go gamble for me, and then if anything happened, you take the fall for it because I don't need to tank my reputation?
Yes. I mean, if you stop and think about it, wait a minute.
I was gonna say that.
I mean, it makes logical sense because.
But what would that do to his reputation?
If you stop and think about it just for a moment, besides just taking the headlines, because everybody grab the headlines and run with it.
Yeah.
If you stop and think about it for a moment, okay, if you come from a culture that likes to gamble, and not just Asian people like to gamble. Everybody
look at the people in America that have spent $3.5 billion betting on the NCAA tournament.
Okay, so we all have an issue with gambling, but the fact that as a player in most sports, they watch whether you gamble or not because they always are worried that you may start gambling on your own team.
Betting on your own, like Pete Rose.
Yes.
Do you think it's time for him to go into the? Why you just gotta be so mean like that?
And
he was awesome.
He
had an issue.
Right. Okay.
He bailed against his own team.
And so you reward him for him not being honest with me. If he once again a gambler with a
problem.
He may never consider that a problem. You may have considered it a problem. Maybe everybody else around him.
I think he probably didn't consider it a problem until he got caught.
Well, I mean, the point that I'm saying is that most don't consider it as being a problem until something bad happens. Okay, I have a problem with gambling until you start telling me I start spending more money than I'm making, and then I got to start resorting to how do I cover my bets, and that's why they don't want you betting. You're betting on things because, I mean, most of the time when we gamble, if we just be realistic, we lose.
When y'all gamble, I give up $25 in Vegas and I want it back.
So you lose it. Yeah. What I'm saying is that the majority of us, the majority of people who gamble, generally lose. I mean, because there's so many different odds and so many different ways for the bookie to win versus you, the player. No, I suggest to you that he's no different than any other person who likes to gamble. But as a player, being a sports figure, it's always shined upon you gambling and people knowing that you openly gamble. That's why he could have been using this interpreter to do the gambling for him, so it wouldn't be him directly. He
wouldn't be tainted by it.
No, because as your interpreter, you get a paycheck to interpret for him. Why would you? That wouldn't give you access to his money at all. If you just think about that.
Why was he able to cipher out $4.5 million if he didn't have access to that bank account?
First of all, if I work for you, if I'm working for you, would you give me your password and stuff to your bank account? And I'm just a worker. No. Okay.
Not that.
As a worker, as somebody who just simply working for you. Unless it was needed, specifically needed. As an interpreter, you don't need to know my bank account to interpret for me. Wait a minute. There's no reason in general for an interpreter to have to know your personal bank account information.
Well, maybe because you're paying a bank account that he could tap into.
Okay, it doesn't matter what account. Once again, there's no real reason for the interpreter to have access to your funds because you're paying him. As the interpreter, you get paid by him. It's not the other way around that the interpreter is paying him. Okay, so why would me paying you when I give you also access to my funds? And I'm paying you already. Wait a minute. Now you need to know my bank account too, and I'm paying you. You're not paying me. I'm paying you. So why would I then also in turn say, well, by the way, here's my password to this bank account. So if you need some money, you can just go in and take money out.
I just need $4.5 million.
So wait a minute. Why would you just do that?
That would be a gambling habit.
Whether it was a gambling habit or not, I'm saying there's no logical reason for you to give somebody else your personal banking information.
Okay.
And they're an employee that you're just paying as an interpreter. There's no reason to have given them that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what
happens. See how it shakes out. I also want to say this. The Dodgers sue the Angels.
Wait, where did that come from out of left no field? What?
If Otani has a gambling problem, the Angels knew it.
Oh.
The Angels knew it. They traded him to the Dodgers. Well, they didn't. I'm sorry, they
When
didn't
he a
trade.
free
He
agent.
became a free agent.
All right.
So you allowed him to become a free agent, but you knew he had a gambling problem.
Oh, so no. How come it wasn't mentioned when he was a Red? When he was playing for the Angels?
Okay, wait, that's what I'm saying. I said that the Dodgers should sue the Angels because they didn't tell them, Otani has a gambling problem.
So you're saying that he was, but he was a free agent.
Okay,
why would you think? Why would you think the Angels? Why would you think the Angels would need to sue the Dodgers when he was a free agent? It wasn't like he was traded.
I said the other way around. I said the Angels.
What?
Listen to what I'm saying.
You said the Angels knew he had a problem
let him be free. And so you didn't re-sign him. So he goes out there on the free market. So you're getting rid of your problem before it became a problem for you. Okay, I know. So I know that you have a gambling problem. I don't say anything about it because if I tell anybody about it, then I'm the one who gets punished. Or we will know how come you didn't. If you knew that your player had a gambling problem, how come you didn't address it? You get them in the Gamblers Anonymous.
Or you say, or they could have, somebody from the Angels camp could have said to the Dodgers
and said, and said, hey, by the way, he likes to gamble. See,
a lot of people like to gamble.
Okay, once again,
I'm not one of them.
I said again, as a sports player, they frown upon you gambling because once again, if you start gambling, most of us lose. 99% of us who gamble simply lose. It's a small, that little 1% that wins inspires the rest of us to say, it's hope for me.
Right. Just like
that's
a
why
lottery.
I gamble.
Just like a lottery. One person, we want to say congratulations to the one person in New Jersey who hit for $1.3 billion in the lottery. Okay, remember, I'm your play cousin, mother love. I'm your play cousin on your daddy's side with his second wife. So don't forget. I'm just
but think about that. The fact that we, in general, we like to gamble. You don't want sports figures betting because you will lose just like anybody else loses. If 90% of us, 99% of us lose, that little 1% that wins inspires the other of us to say that it happened to me. But you still gambling. Anybody can gamble more than they should because you're gambling. I'm saying Otani probably, because being a sports figure, it would automatically be looked upon.
Is he betting against this?
Are you betting against the Angels? Were you playing for the Los Angeles Angels?
But I think that would have came out if he had been betting against the Angels and he playing for them
once again,
or betting against the Dodgers.
Maybe and maybe not. It could. Okay, wait a minute. They didn't. Nobody said that he's actually done any gambling to start with. They said it was the interpreter that had a gambling problem.
But you're thinking that he's falling on his sword for Otani to make sure that he stays at high profile. Well, everybody always want to put the sports figures and the stars and everything on a pedestal. Speaking of stars on a pedestal or whatever they want to call it, the action with P. Diddy, the FBI and the National Guard came into his house.
Not the National Guard. Homeland Security.
Oh,
the two different groups.
Okay. Homeland Security came in with the vest, heavily armed, raided his home in Miami, raided his home in Los Angeles, and they said they had got the warrants based on somebody in his camp, either now or formerly in his camp, that he was involved in sex trafficking, guns, and drugs, and running. And they said they got his guy who was his mule. That's what they kept saying. This is P. Diddy's mule. He got a black jet. I want one. Can't put it on the truck. Okay, we'll just let that one go. Just put it out there in the universe.
What do you think about that?
Okay, so let me finish. So they said they caught his mule getting ready to get on the plane to go to Miami. He said Diddy said he was waiting, on I guess the guy because he was on his way to take his girls to a spring break event. Okay. And they were going to someplace, where they got the girls and they got the movies. Okay. They were going someplace in the islands. And so they detained the guy to
Yeah.
find out what was going on, because they said he was his mule and he had been doing it for a while. And then they said, well, he's a so-called producer and he's got pictures with him and Diddy, you know, in the studio and what
Okay.
have you. And so it made the relationship plausible, because you know Diddy always got all
Okay.
kind of people around him, and for him to be sitting that close to him and almost as close as you and I are, one chair scoot away, you know, that says to me, okay, so you got somebody that you could trust, you know.
Well, that always helps if you have somebody you can trust, and they're dealing with large sums of money and drugs and all that.
And the sex trafficking part is, I mean, all of it is just upsetting. You know, it just seemed like R. Kelly all over again. You know, us seasoned ladies, we call him R. Kelly, not R. Kelly. He R. Kelly. And, you know, for similar, you know, situations like this with underage girls. And then you got this guy, and, you know, that is going through this allegedly. Let's go allegedly.
It has to be, because he's not been convicted
he
yet.
ain't even been arrested.
No.
And so, I mean, because a lot of times when these men and women get, you know, at the height of their game and they're running stuff, and, you know, they're saying that, you know, he has built $1 billion empire.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, we want to do everything to lift you up, and then we want to do everything we can to snatch you down, because you just making us look bad, because we can't make $1 billion.
Wait a minute.
I mean, who thought of that?
Okay, wait a minute. Who's he making look bad? I mean,
no, people haters.
Okay, wait a minute. Haters or not?
People that he grew up with.
Wait a minute.
Well, why you won't give me a job? You owe me, man. I was always there for you.
Okay, well, first of all, that's not the person that turned him in, or how he got, you know, got caught.
Got the search warrant.
It had nothing to do with childhood people, friends, and people that he knew as a kid, people that he probably even knew in college. It had to do with women. As he, you know,
his star
rises, the money that he was making. Okay, he now is allegedly that he chose to take this route. I mean, because he had the former girlfriend who sued him.
Not Kim Porter.
No, I don't recall her name, so I'm not calling her name. I'm just saying, but he had the one young lady who accused him of sex trafficking with using her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then another woman came out and said that she also was treated that way. Then you had a security guard that came out and said
he knew everything.
That all that what was being said was the truth. And so, for whatever reason, things started to unravel, and that could come from an array of different reasons why.
Jealousy, envious,
and the fact that you know that you're doing something illegal. You've made, quote unquote, made it. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean,
you the man. People come to you. How
many chances are you willing to take to jeopardize what you have? Because it comes down to him being the one who decided, if it's found out to be the case, that he was chosen to traffic, and people, because sex trafficking, you trafficking and human beings, to be going around. If you chose to start doing that, you yourself had to think about what,
because they think they're powerful. They think nothing can touch them.
Well, but once again, it can't if you're not doing anything wrong.
Right.
I mean, maybe because you're making money, so it's not, you're not trying to say, oh, you're not making any money, that you're this or you're that. The fact that he had made it, now to take unnecessary risks, because getting involved in a lot of drugs is taking a lot of risks, especially if you
trafficking, sex trafficking women, and then it could have been young boys too. Who knows?
And the fact that it was in Florida, where they have strict laws on drugs, on possession of drugs, and things of this nature.
And they said they found drugs on dude when he was going through the airport. Okay, but this to me was like real petty.
Okay, wait a minute.
He had edibles with him.
Okay, once again though, whether you had edibles, batables, whatever you want to call it.
What's a batable?
The fact that if you don't know the laws, the state that you live in, okay, the laws in the state of California and Florida are far more restricted to drug usage than in other states.
And drug,
so usage, just like here in California and so many other states that have legalized marijuana, Florida is not one of them. Okay.
Well, they have Ron DeSantis as a governor. Could you even expect something?
Matter.
Yeah, it does.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
because before
this the guy that tried to shut down Disney World.
Before he was governor, okay, the laws were still on the books about marijuana, so it had nothing to do with him as being the governor. That these laws about marijuana, that's been the case all along. The people of Florida has not come up to date on the fact that if so many other states have changed the laws on the use of marijuana, recreational or medical use of marijuana, that they have not caught up with that in the state of Florida. You know, it doesn't stop people in the state of Florida from using it, from all the millions and millions of tourists that come to Florida to want to use it.
We coming to Disney World, so we're gonna smoke a joint on the giant hippos and elephants.
The fact that it's part of society. See, whether people say it's right or wrong, I'm saying it's still a part of society. Just like liquor is a part of society. Whether you agree with people drinking or not, the majority of us think that there's no problem with people having a drink.
It's legal.
Oh,
we're from the country of prohibition.
I said we have no problem with it. The same way as it is with marijuana being legal in so many other states, but Florida is not caught up to that.
Catch up to the times, DeSantis.
Is what I'm saying.
He said this is one of the stupidest things he said. He said Florida is where woke goes to die. Okay, that don't learn you about who this guy is.
But it only learns you that that's his opinion and the group and people who support him on what they're thinking. It's not everybody in Florida.
I see. Because he backed away from Disney World. I know that.
I mean, well,
no,
all the money that the state could end up losing, or in the long run.
Right.
It really doesn't make sense, but it gave him something to run on, something to be able to campaign on, because you have people who like to say, I want to be a giant slayer. Okay. And DeSantis.
That's like they would with P. Diddy and all the other ones they be trying to bring down.
Okay, but then you have to know what makes logical sense or things you're willing to risk your
See, and I don't get it.
When you have all that to lose, then do you limit your chances of losing it all by doing risky things, or that you could just simply avoid? I mean, that's why people wonder, say, well, money may only make you more the person that you are. Well, if you were a person that was willing to take risks and chances
you're gonna do it.
Well, then maybe you're enhanced to take even more risks and chances because you have even more money now than the average person has, that you can do things that the average person couldn't do.
Right.
I mean, see, so that's part of that. When I say look at the logical ways that it could go, you're making more money now. You have more money. No, do you look at what you could or could not end up doing because of that? No. He has to hold himself accountable for the risk that he was willing to take. The risk that he was willing to take.
Allegedly, talking about the risk that he was willing to take, allegedly his two sons were involved in this situation as well. And it's
all allegedly.
Right. It's all allegedly.
But
I don't think he would throw his kids under the bus.
Well, he didn't throw. Wait a minute. First of all, he didn't do that.
No,
the government is saying that these. Okay.
This is what we found out.
What means is that
they've been watching him.
Have been watching for a while. It's how they bust most folks that are powerful. You have to have people that start watching you, or there's an informant that comes along and says, okay, well, this happened, and now I'm on their radar. I wasn't on the radar before, but now I'm on the radar because so and so came to me and said.
And you would think that would make them, if they knew that the law enforcement were on them, or even the smell of them on him, what would why wouldn't you change your game plan?
Well,
because it's like you should never play with anybody that doesn't have as many toys as you.
Well,
that goes for your black airplanes, for your black MasterCard. No, not black MasterCard. What's the one? American Express.
Well, they do have a black card.
Oh,
no, American Express.
I just saw something. American.
You said that, but anyway, the fact that you just have to know the risk
and who you dealing with,
because everybody's not gonna play fair, unfortunately.
No,
and as you gain in popularity, you will know there will always be people who want to bring you down too. That's one of the other things about life. As you go up, there's always people who are willing to try to bring you down. So you do have to be careful about who you associate yourself with, what risks you're willing to take, because there are somebody who want to
give them to you.
We want to bring you down. I mean, Otani being no different. You'd be making $700 million with the Dodgers, but possibly having a gambling problem that could jeopardize $700 million.
It ain't that serious. But I guess
think about it.
An addict is an addict. And gambling is an addiction. Drinking is an addiction.
Living is an addiction.
Well, babies,
that you live long.
we want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Mother Love Show with Mr. Kennedy. You call on your peoples and let them know. Go listen to Mother Love. Watch one of the shows. Go to Facebook, Twitter, it's X, Instagram, Restream, Blog Talk, Jill Sullivan. They're in India. Hi, babies. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody in the whole world. Know that I love you. And remember this, no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Peace, babies. Tell the people now.
Peace. Okay. You didn't turn it off. Click it again. You didn't turn it off. If you don't click